Well, welcome. My name is Sandy Knudson, and I have spent 30 years in the elementary music classroom and 30 years working with children's choruses and 30 years teaching in the Kodai certification program at the University of Oklahoma. So I have lots of things to share. My whole approach is a circle of learning. So I'm a little frustrated by this format because I'm used to interacting with you and asking lots of questions, like who do you teach and where you are. And hopefully we can maybe achieve that in the chat. But for now, I would like for you to participate with me. This is called the Engaging Choral Classroom. So I want you to stand up and do with me. And so the first thing that I am going to share is just some of my favorite warm-ups. And circles are very important. So you'll see me using a lot of circles. The first one is just a 4-beat movement. Ken, and if you would just be 4 beats behind me. So if I start here, and then you are there. So it just gives you a chance to warm up your articulators and your vowels. This is the way that I like to teach young singers to breathe correctly, because if you ask a young singer to take a deep breath, they go, and they go the opposite direction. So I ask them to think of relaxing this area and letting this expand. So you have 2 friendly gatekeepers. One is on your tummy, one is on the side. And if you take a breath correctly, you'll fill up those hands. So blow your breath out and then fill up. And then just do 3 short ch, ch, ch. And so then we'll blow out, fill up, and do 5. Ch, 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 ch. And fill up, and so on, and do 7, 9, 11, however many you want. The hardest one is just 3. But again, these are friendly gatekeepers here, and you're filling your hands. Another one that I love is just you, woo, 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 woo. We underuse these muscles on the side of our face as Americans. We talk like this. How are you doing today? But if you go to Europe, everybody is using this, what I call fish lips, or just overusing the sides of your lips so that it's a beautiful ooh shape. You, ooh, 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 do it here. You, ooh, 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 ooh. I also think movement is very important. And this is a great one to do if you're in a brand new venue, you've done your rehearsals in the choir room, and now you're going into the sanctuary. And the first thing they want to do is look all around the sanctuary. So use this and say, find every corner of the sanctuary and point to it as we do this warm up. It's a great way for them to get acquainted with a new space. Another thing that's important for young singers is they want to have a quiet, unsupported sound. And they think that all of singing takes place right here with the vocal cords. But you have gas in your engine, that's your air, and you're using all of your space above your head, all the way down here, all the way out to the side. This is your personal space that you need to fill up with your singing voice. So this is a great one for them to open up. And with a middle schooler, I'll get this. And I'm like, nope, I want to see your armpits. Zee-oh, 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 do it here. Zee-oh, zee-oh, zee-oh. And I have no way of seeing your armpits, but I hope that you're doing this with me. Another favorite, I'm going to insert here. It's not on the PowerPoint, but it's one I'm going to use in my second engaging choral classroom session. And it's the difference between mallets and paintbrushes. So we'll start. Beep, 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 beep. Do, 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 do. Beep, 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 beep. Do, 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 do. Beep, 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 beep. Do, 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 do. We'll use that for articulation to give a difference between staccato and legato. That one is a combination of a David Bruner and a Rollo Dilworth that I've put together. What I love to do is watch conductors, take notes, and then immediately try them out with my singers. So my singers always say, where have you been, Miss Kay? Because we're trying something new. But if I can get it into my body, then it becomes mine, and then I adapt it. This one is beautiful for vowels. Would you say me, we, fa, lo, you? And we'll start here. Me, we, fa, lo, you. You will get this. Me, but you want me. You want that soft palate lifted up. Me, this helps with those fish lips. You. You can also do it as a freeze tone. So all your sopranos would sing, me, we, follow you. Your altos would sing, may we follow you. And your men could sing, may we follow you. Or it could be SSA. Whatever your makeup of your choir is, you can do some freeze tones. Sometimes I would just say, you are treble ones, you are treble twos. Let's do an A, B, C division so that we can get those chordal harmonies. All right, here are some favorite solfege things that I like to do. One is called a slur exercise. And so I want them to get that syllabic stress. Give weight to the first part of the word and let the second part of the word decay. So how do I get that? I do a slur exercise in groups of 2, in groups of 3, in groups of 4. So we're going to start with, would you just do the hand signs but not sing? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. It's important for them to do the hand signs to know where the strong notes are. Then I would ask them to sing along with me. And many times there will be no difference. I'll get do, re, mi, fa. That's not what I'm looking for. I'll stop them. I'll say do, re, mi, and so on. So since you're gifted and so smart, would you do it with me the right way? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. In groups of 3, please just do the strong hand signs with me. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do the hand signs again with me, but don't sing. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Now sing with me. Ready? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. And then in groups of 4, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. So we have to re-articulate that high do. Try that one with me. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. So let's do all 3. 2, 3, 4. I know I'm speeding through, but this is something you can go back and look at later. It's all in your handout. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. And so on. You can do a freeze tone if you divide your groups into treble 1, 2, 3, 4, or S, A, T, B. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti is 1 freeze. La, sol, fa, mi, re. So you have the 5 chord there, and then you resolve to do, or fa resolves to mi, so stays the same, ti goes up to do. So it would sound like this. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. So they're coming down the scale, stopping at their freeze point, and then resolving to the 1 chord. I'm so sorry we can't do that together because it's a glorious sound. You can also use solfege canons. You've heard of the do, re, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do. But I would encourage you to do it just pentatonically if you did. Do, re, mi, do, re, mi, so, mi, re, do, re, mi, so, la, so, mi, re, do, re, mi, so, la, do, la, so, mi, re, do, la, so, la, do, la, so, mi, so, la, do, la, so, mi, re, mi, so, la, do, la, so, mi, re, mi, so, la, do. And you can do that in a canon. You can also do do, so, 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 mi, 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 do, 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 do. Do, do, so, 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 mi, 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 do, do, do. Do, so, so, mi, mi, do, do, so, mi, do. And so it's 8, 4, 2, and 1, or you can do la, 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 mi, 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 do, 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 la. And so again, this would be so much more fun if we were all together singing in person, but hopefully that gives you a few solfege ideas. I think everything goes better with solfege, but that is my personal bias. So let's look at another philosophy. I think working in circles is so important. And so this is why I'm sad that we're not in an actual circle together right now. But in my choir rehearsal, if things are not going well, we circle up. So sopranos aren't getting their part, circle up. Altos aren't getting their part, circle up. And I have the privilege of having an accompanist who's willing to work with a circle and an intern in my rehearsals. So we can easily accommodate 3 circles. What if you don't have that much staff? Then pick a ringer to be. Pick your section leader to help your circle. But if they're singing in a circle, they can hear each other better and they can validate their part. Another thing I like to do is do partner songs and canons in circles. And here's the big challenge. Yes, you can hear each other, but can you sing in a listening way so that you can hear what's happening in the other two circles? So in my classroom, I used the canoe song that had a little ostinato, dip, dip, and swing. And so one circle would have dip, dip, and swing. And one circle would start the canon, and another circle would sing in canon. So you have an ostinato and two circles with the canon. You can take any round. You can use partner songs. One that I love is One Bottle of Pop, where you have 3 different songs that work together. I also like to do chording. And so if you see this little chording here, we have sol, la, sol, sol. And we also have mi, fa, fa, mi. And we have do, do, ti, do. And that can give us the harmonic. I didn't practice it. That's not correct. Okay. So anyway, those chords are going on, and you can sing, all things shall perish from under the sky, while those chords are going on underneath. So it's a great way, circles are a great way to, number one, help singers enjoy each other's sound, because so many times we're in this rehearsal formation where they don't enjoy that circular sound. And it also can give you a chance to say, can you sing in a listening way and hear the other parts? Let's see if I think I covered everything that I wanted to talk about on that page. So another thought is, I have been an educator for 30 years. So every year there was some new trend. And one year it was a word wall, and our principal said, we need to read this book on word walls. That was our faculty meeting study. And now you have to have a word wall in your room. And I was dragging my feet. And then I just tried it and I used it. And I had a word wall. I had words for kindergartners, words for first graders, second graders, third graders, fourth and fifth graders. But then in my choral rehearsal, I was going someplace for a couple of days, and I thought, why not have a word wall? And so I try to keep the word wall to, 10 to 12 words, but I looked at my repertoire and thought, what can I teach them? And so this gave the students ownership. And so instead of saying, take out to the path to the moon, I could say, take out your piece with syllabic stress and sequence and hemiola. And I actually divided them up into groups and gave them a blank piece of paper after we had talked about all of our terms. And they could say, for this piece, these were the word wall words that Miss K thought were important. For this piece, this is what she thought was important. So I have a whole list of different kinds of words that you might consider. A cappella, apex. Where is the apex of the piece? Augmentation. Maybe you're doing a piece where the melody is augmented in a canon. Diction, diphthong, fermata, hemiola, legato, marcato, metric accent, partner song, scat singing, sequence, stagger breathing, all those things, syllabic stress. And so I just make them on colored paper. This is very high tech. No, it's not. I just take them and have different things like this. They can be taped on the wall. You can just type them on a sheet. One year, I just had 12 terms typed on a sheet on a colored piece of paper inside my choristers folder. And every time we were going to talk about a word, then we would just look at that sheet. My goal is always that they know what it means and they can tell me like a teacher. And many times I'll say, would you go home and teach your parents what a fermata is? Or would you go home and tell them about metric accent? Or could you turn to your neighbor right now and explain what metric accent is? I want them to be smart musicians, articulate musicians, to be able to explain what they're doing with the music. So those are some of my favorite words on my word wall. And when I send out notes to a chorus, if I'm coming to do a festival, I will have several words for each piece. And I'll give them the definition in those notes and say, please be ready to interact with me about these definitions. I want you to be able to tell me what they mean, and we're going to explore them in our festival. Here's another thing that I came up with one time because I was going to be somewhere from Wednesday night to Saturday night with a choir. This was with the National Children's Choir at the Organization of American Kodály Educators. And I thought, I have to have a paradigm to keep them engaged for all of those rehearsals. Wednesday night, Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, Friday morning. We didn't have Friday afternoon. Saturday morning, dress rehearsal, performance. And so I came up with the paradigm of a building. And I also talked to them about if you have a tall building, you have to use your excavators to dig a deep foundation. You can't just put a slab and put a high-rise building on top of it. You have to dig down deep and have a great foundation. And so many choristers, when they come to a festival, think that they're ready for a performance. I know my notes, I know my words, I know my parts, I'm done. No, why am I here? We have a lot of work to do. So I told them that Wednesday night, we just got to know each other. I heard all the pieces. I'm taking copious notes about what I need to do the next couple of days. But I said, by the end of Thursday morning, you need to know the definition of every word on my word wall. And so we did that. And then Thursday afternoon, it's a long day if you rehearse Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon. So I said, on the first floor, we have got to learn how to take care of our instrument. We need to rest. We need to hydrate. We need to do something together. And then we need to click save and be mindful. Because if I come and I try all these things with you and then you perform it the way that you performed it the first night, why did I come? So if I try something with you, I want you to memorize it and click save and be mindful about it. Also, on Friday, second floor, we had to become an artistic ensemble. This is the sing in a listening way. Are you really hearing the other parts? And we spent a lot of time on Friday putting the music in our body, pictures in our mind, and we did a lot of play with engagement. And I'm going to give you some examples of that in just a moment. And then on Saturday, after doing all this work, we could be the best we've ever been. We could take a quantum leap. We could go up to the top of the building. We could be in the penthouse. It was very important. So whenever they were sagging, I would say the sky is the limit. You know, we want to go all the way up to the top of the building. And they would say, we're digging deeper, Miss K. So the whole point of saying, do you want to be really, really good? Then you have to do the work. So am I teaching a work ethic? You betcha, I am. But it was like, okay, the sky's the limit. Do you really want to have this mountain peak experience? Okay, we've got to do the work. So let's take a moment. Let's have a drink. I'm drinking LaCroix this morning. Let's hydrate. Let's rest for a minute. You can go to position 0, close your eyes, take some deep breaths, or we'll have a brain break or play a game of some kind, and I will share some of those as well. All right, so let's flip on to some of the engaging things that I did on Friday or any point. But these are ways to engage your singers and help them make musical decisions. So I think that, and this is from my learning with Doreen Rao. If anybody has studied with Doreen, her whole premise is the circle of sound. She is talking about your breath circle. She is talking about a circle of learning. So when I am interacting with my choristers, my goal is to learn as much from them as they learn from me, and that they are able to learn from each other. That has to be facilitated. This is not Miss K is the dictator. This is, we are a community and we are making music together. And you are responsible for your musical decisions. So we do a lot of things kinesthetically just to get it in their body. I'm a kinesthetic learner. If I get something in my body, it's mine. I treat all my students as kinesthetic learners in this situation. So maybe there's a hemiola in the song Path to the Moon. The first ending is over the sea. It's in 6/8. But the second ending is over the sea. If you have your students conducted, they will sing it correctly. So boys and girls, let's conduct number 1. Over the sea, number 1. Over the sea, number 2. Over the sea. If you play with them back and forth, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, and put it in context, then they are going to sing it correctly. Same thing. Cutoff has to be taught from the very beginning. It's not something that you teach later. When you introduce the piece, you have to know exactly where you want that consonant. And so give them a way to show you. Come again tomorrow night. I'm winning on beat 4. Would you conduct me? Conduct with me. Come again tomorrow night. So they know exactly what beat, how to do it. Do it here, do it here. However you want to show it, but have them learn where the cutoff is. Can children conduct? Absolutely. I had a methods class come watch a 4th grade class, and we were learning conducting. And they said, why are you teaching 4th graders to conduct? And I said, why not? Syllabic stress, just like we have with our slurs. Art thou troubled, troubled? Music will calm thee. Or even fish and chips and vinegar, vinegar, vinegar. Syllabic stress. All of those things are important if you're going to make music. So give them a way to show it with their hand. The legato with the paintbrush and the staccato with mallets. Some people use a hammer. I'd rather use mallets. But do 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 do. I was doing a Japanese piece that had staccato, do 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 do. So we had to have that staccato and that legato. So we played with mallets and paintbrushes. Melisma. A great way to do melisma is what I respectfully call a butt bounce. So I'm going to sit on my piano bench here. So when young students are singing a Baroque piece, do, mi, deus, instead of going, do, ha, 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 doing it here, doing it with your breath and your diaphragm. Do, mi, deus. So if you have a melisma, if you have a string of 16th notes on one syllable, this is a great way. Maybe it's not a Baroque piece. Maybe it's just something that needs a little articulation like that, then the butt bounce will help you. Phrasing. A lot of times I would use a scarf to help them not breathe in the middle of a phrase. You know, some people, you can use rubber bands, you can use neckties. Some people put, Janelle Kriebel used to put pantyhose, cut off pantyhose legs in their folder. It's whatever you want to use to help them not drop it in the middle. Da 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 da. All of that on one breath. Then you have to teach them about staggered breathing. Talking about fighting gravity. Many times if you have a descending line, it goes flat. And it usually goes flat around la and fa. La, so, fa. Many times it's the fa. And so the la and the fa have to be bright and you have to fight gravity. La, so, fa, mi. And we're fighting gravity as we're going the opposite direction as we sing a descending line. Keeping tempo, sometimes with a very fast song, once the adrenaline starts going, the choir is not with the conductor. So how do you get them to respond to your gesture? You give them another gesture. Let's see if I'm even. So I need to go to the next slide. Here we go. So we fought gravity on a descending line. We're going to keep a tempo. One piece that I did that ran away was j'entends le moulin, tic tic toc, j'entends le moulin toc. So we have to feel the beat. So I would say take out your magic beach ball, and we're going to keep together this way. J'entends le moulin, tic tic toc, j'entends le moulin toc. Okay, let's change that to a conducting pattern. J'entends le moulin, tic tic toc, j'entends le moulin toc. And I would say, boys and girls, if we're in the middle of performing this piece and you are letting adrenaline take you faster than I want to go, I'm going to get out my magic beach ball. And you know that you are going too fast and you need to breathe and pull it back to the tempo. Then that becomes my secret signal to take control instead of going da 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 and having this face. I can just be smiling at them and saying, you're going faster than I am. Can you come back to my tempo? So that was something I learned from experience. Showing metric accent is important. And many times in 3/4, for me, 3/4 has to have a metric accent. All things shall perish from under the sky. So that you have that strong beat on 1, and 2 and 3 give you a little space. It's like a dance move, because when you waltz, you step on beat 1, and then you lift on 2 and 3. And so it's the same in music. Also, showing dynamics. Sometimes I use little tiny circles to carry, carry, carry me over the sea. So we started soft, tiny circle, bigger circle, mezzo piano to mezzo forte, then to forte. And so these circles help us sing that dynamic level. I think some people assign numbers to different dynamic levels. That's great. But I think this kind of motion, gross motor motion, is very, very important to show dynamics. Listening for the melody or the moving part. I like to program pieces where the altos have the melody. And so if they do, the sopranos may be singing something that is higher and is not as important. And so many times you have the sopranos being divas and you can't hear the melody. So if the sopranos have the melody, stand while you're singing. And altos sing in a listening way. Now the altos have the melody, they are standing, and sopranos, are you singing in a listening way? So you can have this, and if they pass it back and forth, which is lovely, then you have this standing up, sitting down to see where the melody is. And that gives them an awareness of when to sing a little softer and listen for the melody. Another thing that happens in performance sometimes is the altos really flip into a chest voice, especially if they are down low around C and D. And I try and pick pieces where the alto part is not so low that they're up in their head voice as well. But during a concert, I have them in rehearsal sing in their attic and sing in their basement. Are you sleeping? Ding, ding, dong. Ding, ding, dong. I can't even demonstrate chest voice badly. But we practice singing in our head voice and hardly practice singing in our chest voice. But I say, boys and girls, if we're in the middle of performance and I do this, can I do that? Your parents will think I'm really weird. So my secret signal is altos. If you are belting, I'm going to look at you like this and say, sing in the attic. Sing in the attic. Weight, different kinds of weight. I like to use balls. So if we're singing something that's very, very light and very, very fast, we're thinking of ping pong balls. Do, mini deus. If we're thinking of something that is heavier, then maybe we have bowling balls. Maybe we have basketballs. Maybe we have soccer balls. But then the lighter things are like volleyballs, beach balls, tennis balls, ping pong balls. And so experiment. Let's sing this phrase as if we have a bowling ball. Are you sleeping? Let's bounce a basketball. Are you sleeping? Let's do a volleyball. Are you sleeping? Let's do a ping pong. Are you sleeping? So it's both dynamics and weight. And maybe that picture will help them come to the correct weight and dynamic for that piece. And the last thing is a bicycle ride to shape the phrase. When I first started conducting, I thought all beats had to be equal, that my job was to be a metronome, and that's not my goal. After my first concert, my fine arts director said, "Nice pulse." That was not a compliment. It took me a couple of years to figure that out. But many times at the beginning of the phrase, we need to move the phrase along to the apex so that then we can coast down the hill and take a little bit of time at the end of the phrase. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do 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 It's a lovely Brahms melody. It's a song that has 5 verses. So if you sing it, do, 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 you're going to bore your audience to tears. So it's a 3 bar plus 3 bar plus 4 bar plus 5 bar. So I told my students, I said, let's find the word we're going to, the solfege syllable we're going to, but as the phrase gets longer, I'm going to pedal harder at the beginning because I want to make sure I get to the top of the hill so I can coast. So I'm going to go faster on the 5 bar phrase at the beginning than I am on the 4 bar phrase than I am on the 3 bar phrase. Hopefully that makes sense, but it's okay to push at the beginning of a phrase. Let's do it with Are You Sleeping? Are you sleeping? That doesn't need shaping so much. Are you sleeping? But many times we're going to beat 3. Brother John, Brother John. Here's a case. Morning bells are ringing. Morning bells are ringing. We're pushing to beat 3 and then having a little bit of relaxation on beat 4. Ding, ding, dong. Ding, ding, dong. You can take any song and make it beautifully musical, whether it's in your classroom or in your choir with your choristers. So let's move along and talk about different management techniques. So I'm going to talk about management and brain breaks, and then I want to give you a chance to ask questions. Many times at the beginning of my work with students, if I'm the guest, I will have them sing their pieces for me, and then I'll say, on a scale of 1 to 4, tell me how much you love the piece. So, they love the Japanese piece. They love Banjo Sam. They love the folk piece. But they don't love the Purcell piece or the Vivaldi piece. But then I ask them, how difficult is it on a scale of 1 to 4? And most students will just say, it's easy, it's easy, it's easy, it's easy. They don't discern difficulty the way adults do. They think it's all easy. And where are you on a scale of 1 to 4 with mastery? Oh, I've got it, I've got it, I've got it. So what I would say, let's say on Wednesday night, we've gone through all of our pieces and I've had them do this with every single piece. And the next morning I'll say, the good news, boys and girls, is that you are at a high level of mastery already. So this is great news. All the pieces are easy. None of them are difficult. However, you don't completely love this piece or this piece, and it's my job to cause you to fall in love with it. So then I pass out 3x5 cards. And I say, or a 4x6 card. Let's say that we're doing Art Thou Troubled by Handel. It's an ABA piece. And so I say, you can choose a British character, and I elaborate on that. It could be somebody from Downton Abbey that was really popular 4 or 5 years ago, Harry Potter. It could be many of the girls wanted to be Hermione, I will just tell you. Royalty figure, Princess Kate, very popular. Queen Elizabeth, very popular. Prince William, very popular. Could be a Narnia character. It could be Mary Poppins. It could be anybody. Somebody said Sherlock Holmes. Somebody said Winston Churchill. Somebody said Doctor Who. It can be anybody from a BBC TV or movie, etc. Okay, pick a person, tell me why you chose your person, and then describe what this person is doing in the A part and the B part. So if you know Art Thou Troubled, the A part is very, Art Thou Troubled, very sustained. And the B part is, Dee-dum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dee-dum. Faster. So here are some answers from my choristers. Queen Elizabeth I. Why did I choose her? Because she is a very popular and proper queen. In the A part, she's walking at a parade. Da dum dum dee dum. And in the B part, she's sitting on a boat. Dee dum ba dum bum ba ba dum. All right, here's another one. King George III. Why did I choose that person? That's the only British person I know. In the A part, he is listening to music instead of taking care of his kingdom. And in the B part, he is singing in the royal garden. And so then every single person would fill this out. And they put their name on it as well. And they turn them in to me. But before we go any further, I say, please put on your British character. We're sitting down. When you have totally channeled and put on your British character, stand with the posture of that character. Think about what you're doing in the A section while we breathe and Mr. Clemens plays our introduction. Now sing the A section with what you just wrote down. Sing the B section with what you just wrote down. Come back to the A. And so they turn them all in. It transforms the piece. You're looking around and they're all telling their own story with their own character. Then, during brain breaks later, I'm going to read 5 cards. Slump, go to 0 position, rest. I'm going to read 5 cards. Let's see if you can tell who they are or whatever. Great way to make them fall in love with a classical piece, especially ABA. I had a Purcell piece that was A, B, A, C, A. So I had them write about what they're doing in their A, B, and C part. Also, written response is great. And this also came from an educational trend. You know, just like the principal says, you have to have a word wall. Another year, the principal says, you have to incorporate writing into your classroom. Here's the book that we're going to study. You need to report back how you're using writing. Well, I would use writing after a performance. With my community choir, one year we had the great privilege of singing in Carmen with the University of Oklahoma Opera in a performance version of Carmen. So here's the stage. On the stage is the orchestra with the conductor. At the very front are the soloists, and then there are balconies. And so we're here. The women's chorus is here. The men's chorus is here. So the audience can see us the entire time. Talk about panic for me. Training, training, training. Okay, when we stand up, we have to look so professional because they can see you the whole time. All right, so afterwards, I'm thinking all of them will want to be soloists. So I just had a very simple written response. After Carmen, which performer would you like to be and why? And their choices were these. They had conductor, soloist, orchestra player, women's chorus, men's chorus. I was very surprised by the results. I thought so many people would want to be the soloist. I had one that wanted to be the conductor, and that was very obvious. Such a great leader. Many of them are also orchestra players. And that's one of the reasons they're in my community course, because they can't fit vocal music into their schedule at school. So I had lots of students saying that they wanted to be an orchestra player, either a wind instrument or a string instrument. I had maybe 1 or 2 that wanted to be soloists, but most of them said they wanted to be in the men's chorus or the women's chorus. What a great insight. After we had this situation where we got to sing with adults, instead of being drawn to the conductor or the soloist who are the stars, they were drawn to the women's chorus and the men's chorus. How exciting for us. We are raising young choristers. So another one of my sessions later today is creating collaborations. And I'll talk about the different kinds of things that I arrange for my students so that they can have interactions with adult choruses or other choruses or other ensembles. So that's, don't miss that one. I think it's at the very end of the day. So let's talk about brain breaks just briefly. We've got about 11 minutes left. And these are some of my favorite brain breaks. One of the things you can do is just move where you are in the room. If you have a big enough rehearsal room and you can just pick up your music stand, you can change where you are in the room and conduct from there. And so they have to follow you and they have to know where you are. Okay, I'm going to come over here. So go to the very back, have them turn around and face you. That's a great brain break. You need to always be reading their body language. In my session, Engaging Choral Classroom 2, I'm going to talk about pacing and rehearsal and preparing your music and lesson planning. That's another big part of keeping your students engaged is what's your pacing? What are you doing? What are you bringing to the rehearsal in order to keep them engaged? And at the end, they say, is choir over already? Oh, darn. So that is always my goal, is that their body language is so positive and they are so engaged that the time flies by for them and for me. Okay, brain breaks. You can pair share. So you can just say, silently count down the row. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Ones and twos face each other. And brainstorm a word that begins with S. So they come up with different things. Raise a quiet hand. Okay, singing, snowballs, spaghetti, whatever it is. Okay, now find the piece that starts with S. Or turn to your partner and ask them their favorite animal, their favorite color, and their favorite ice cream flavor. And then you can introduce them as, this is Miss K. She is a blue chocolate chip cat. And have her wave. And just have 5 or 6 people introduce their friend as this whatever color, ice cream flavor, animal. Have them use lip trills. Have a little conversation about what you had for breakfast using lip trills. Or humming. Which movie what's the latest movie you've seen? Do a humming conversation. It's totally ridiculous, but it's a brain break and the kids love it. So pair share could be anything. And we did this on Zoom type things, let's have a breakout room. You're going to be in a breakout room with 3 people. The question you have to answer is blah, blah, blah. Just give them a chance to talk and be social. Another thing is just play the game of, door number 1 or door number 2, boys and girls. I'm going to sing it this way. I'm going to sing it this way. You tell me which one should be the right way. If they've made a mistake, instead of saying, that's not the way I want you to sing it, say, door number 1, here's what I heard. Door number 2, tell me which one you would like to choose. Fix the teacher. I'm going to sing it 2 different ways. You tell me which one's better. You don't always have to put the better one on number 2. You can put it on number 1. But they love to play Fix the Teacher or door number 1, door number 2. Poison is a great game. And I play this all the time. You can pick your poison pattern. Let's say my poison pattern is So, Mi, Re. And so I sing some patterns and they can sing everything except the poison pattern. So if I sing So, Mi, So, they sing So, Mi, So, So, La, So, So, La, So. Sa, mi, re. Should be silent. But if somebody sings, I get a point. They cannot shush each other. They have to be responsible for themselves. If I get to 3 points, I win. If they get to 3 points, they win. So it's a great way to put patterns in their ear. Maybe you've picked 10 patterns that match their repertoire and you want to have extra practice. What a great way to do it. And they think they're playing a game. Could we please play Poison, Miss K? Yes, here's your poison pattern. Sing it. Don't ever sing it again. It's fun to trick them. And I always tell them that I love winning. So I've only gone one place, and that was in Katy, Texas, where they won the first time. So that tells you that there's teachers use solfege in the classroom all the time, and maybe they have played Poison before I got there. I'm going to talk about inner hearing and a couple of resources for you. Inner hearing is a great resource, especially if they're starting to sag for a minute, or especially if there's one place you really want to spot practice, and that's something I'm going to talk about in Engaging Choral Classroom 2. But spot practice is important so you can snap if you want them. You know, they're singing along and you snap and it goes inside their head, and then you snap and it comes back out loud. For instance, we're going to overuse this song, Are You Sleeping? Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping? Morning bells are ringing, ding, ding, dong, ding, ding, dong. So you snap. Maybe they need to hear something a little more carefully. Maybe the pattern they're struggling with is the one you want them to inner hear. But I use this towards the end for a dress rehearsal, especially if we're dress rehearsing right before we're going to sing. I almost do the whole rehearsal with this snapping. And it's great. It rests their voice. And guess what? They're all looking at me because they have to know when to inner hear. They don't want to be the one person who's blurting out. It's great. Okay, 2 resources really quickly, and then I'll give you a chance to ask questions. One is Gadgets for Great Singing by Christy Elsner. I have watched her in rehearsal many times, and she has come and worked with my choir. One time she walked in with a thing of paintbrushes, and everybody got a paintbrush, and all through the rehearsal, they used paintbrushes for different things. Okay, show me that cutoff. Do, do, do. Or you've got to keep the air going, so spin your paintbrush. Or could you make this more legato, please? Or could you make it staccato? Or let's, show a quiet paintbrush, a louder paintbrush. You can use props. So I've seen her come in with Oreos. I've seen her come in with clothespins. I've seen her come in with different things. Here are all her best ideas. This is another great book written by 2 of my fellow Oklahomans. It's called Quick Starts for Young Choirs by Christy Carey Miller and Angie McKenna. They have put together a lot of fun things in here that are, some of them are warm-ups, some of them are games, and I'm doing a session on games later today. We started doing games 15 minutes before our rehearsal started. We never had any tardies after that. Everybody's saying, Mom, hurry up, get me to rehearsal. I want to play games before rehearsal. And so this is a source, and I will share some other sources when we get to the games workshop. Another session that I'm doing is just how to build beautiful tone with young singers, and it's going to have a lot of things that you would do with young choristers, especially kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade. So that's coming up next. But I have lots of fun games that I like to do. One from this book is taking the song This Old Man, and you give the fermata to somebody, and then you're singing the tune to This Old Man with this. And I can't do 2 things at once, but Another person would be holding the fermata. Let's just pretend that the fermata is there. Pep, 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 key, 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 key. What's that word? Ma, 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 ma. Zoo, 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 zoo. And so this is a brain break. It's great. Maybe they're sagging for a minute. It's like, I need a helper with my fermata. Do it for 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and you've got them. You're back in. So there's another one that I will do later in the games session. Everything is in the handouts. So the PowerPoint is not as important as the handouts. The handouts have every single thing that was in the PowerPoint. So if you print out that handout, all of it is there. I basically just took things off the handout to put in the PowerPoint to give you a visual reference. Hopefully you were participating with me and you can take something back to your choristers, back to your rehearsals. On the handout is my contact information. I welcome any emails or texts if you would like to reach out to me. So thank you. I guess we'll end this session, Philip. And thank you, Philip, for helping me. We're going to take a break, and I'm back in 15 minutes with Building Beautiful Tone with Young Singers.